So finally, I get to try this new category or level of Chianti called Gran Selezione. And what I'm going to do is have some of that I've been decanting for a little bit. I did make my meatballs. They are covered right now. So here's the Gran Selezione. I did do a little bit of reading before just to have a general idea. And the other night I had a Chianti Classico Reserva 2017. This is a 2016, which is an amazing vintage out of Chianti. I looked it up yesterday. It's literally one of the best. 15 and 16 were two of the best rated Chianti vintages in the last 10 years. So looking at color, so I did want to talk a little bit about it. Let's talk a little bit about it. So Chianti, the region in Tuscany, Sangiovese, 80% minimum. There's the levels. So you have Chianti, then Chianti Classico, Chianti Classico Reserva, Chianti Gran Selezione. Then you have there's a few other areas that I used to use Sangiovese as well, but if I'm going to talk about Sangiovese in its purest best form, I go then Brunello to Montalcino, and then Brunello to Montalcino Reserva. So if I had to go up through that scale. Now Brunello's and these Chianti Classico Gran Seleziones, prices are close. These are even a little more expensive than Gran Seleziones from what I can tell. So that's sort of my hierarchy. Doesn't necessarily mean much. Sort of your palate will determine it. So what's the difference between Gran Selezione and Reserva, then Classico, and then Chianti? So it's how much aging. I think 30 months minimum. Doesn't necessarily mean in barrel, but just aging in general. Of course, some is in barrel. Extract, minimum alcohols, things like that. So you're going to get, and it has to be made from grapes from their own property. So there's that too. So I'm going to smell the classic Chianti. A little bit of that fennel, sour cherry, black cherry, cedar. Really great aroma. So a little more purple here than this one. This one's a little browner. No, I'm going to tip them. They're both got the browning on the edge. Maybe just the angle here. And this smells different. Certainly smells a little bit more extracted, a little more dense, dark fruit. Some of those herbs are coming through. Sage and thyme. You know, this one's been open for so long. It's definitely fully opened. So this might just not fully have opened up, but it smells great and similar. You could tell they're both Chianti. You could just tell there's just more extract here. You could even tell from the alcohol. This alcohol level is 14.5 versus 13.5, and that makes a huge difference in the taste in the body. Medium body, great acid. That's why this goes good with Italian food, tomato-based type foods, sauces. I wonder if this could be a little bit more versatile, but also go with that stuff. But also stand up to bigger. It smells like there's something extra besides just the normal Sangiovese, the normal Chianti aromas I'm used to. There's just another layer. Can't put my finger on it yet. Definitely a bigger mouthfeel. You could taste it. It's a little hotter. You could taste the alcohol. Longer length, really great acid. I mean, very similar. I don't know what the price is on this one, but it's not cheap. So this is 20 bucks, and this is probably about 60. Does this taste better than a Brunello is really the question. I kind of wish I had a Brunello equal vintage next to it. Although I don't think this, oh, the 16 Brunellos did come out, but that's best Brunello vintage in the last 30 years. I think I was talking about that. I think this needs to open up more before I really make a good assessment of it, because there's another layer here. One of the dimension I'm not. It's got, this has a little more rusticity and absolutely screams old world in Italy. It bends a little bit towards a moderner, bigger style. It's not super unctuous like Napa, but you kind of tell it's leaning. It's an Italian that threw off his fez and put a hat on backwards. If that's even a good enough analogy. My whole judgment. I like it, of course. See how it pairs up with the food. It's a little hot. If there's one thing about it's a little hot, but that might blow off a little bit as it opens up. It's longer than this. It's bigger than this. I mean, even this does look browner, and this does look more. I don't know if it's just the angle, but tannin level, acids are on par. Tannin, it's not really more tannic. If anything, you could just tell maybe they just took a batch of grapes from a specific plot in where they had it, and it's got just a more concentrated. It's more concentrated, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. The flavors are all there, but they're tighter and more concentrated. I'm gonna see how this develops over the next few days, or at least till tomorrow, or how it goes with the food. So I definitely owe an update on this one for sure. An update on the Chablis Premier Cru with food, with the crab last night. It was awesome, and that wine got better. That's a 4.5 point wine now at a 5 to me. It absolutely got better with the food. I finished the whole bottle over the course of the evening. Had it with some aged goat cheese, and it went phenomenal with that too. It opened up for sure. That decanting or letting a wine get some air to it. Some of these are reductive, which means they don't let a lot of air into them. So as soon as air is exposed to them, they just sort of open up. You know, they bloom like a flower. And the longer you let it do it, it gets better. And then as long as they don't wilt, you don't want it to let it over oxidize, and then it starts turning. So see, it's starting to open up a little more now. I could tell. Smells a little less hot. A little more red cherry coming out. It's got red cherry, but then it's got like this blackberry, which definitely I don't ever get from Sangiovese typically. So that's what's a little throwing me off a little bit. Well, that's it. I'm gonna have this now with some meatballs. Don't think I'm gonna do a follow-up video today, but in my next video, I will definitely talk about this a little more. This 2016 Gran Selezione. Really excited. You know, I really have been looking forward to trying this for a while. It definitely didn't disappoint. And I do believe it's going to be even better with the food now. Without a doubt, I could just tell. This is going to really, really pair well. It's going to bring out some other flavors and just complement the red sauce and the meatballs and everything in the meatballs. I forgot to put fennel in my meatballs today. Damn. Anyway, dinner time. Good night.